All right, hey everyone, Brian Fouch here with the Elevation Group, and I'm here with Adam Ackerman, who's the Chief Executive Officer of The Abundance Company. And I'm very privileged to have him on this call today because today we hear a lot about crowdfunding. That's a term that is very common, but most people don't really understand what crowdfunding is, how to use it, and how it can apply to them and their business. And so, Adam, we've had a few conversations now around how you got started in selling physical products online. But for those of you out there who are not familiar with your story, Adam, can you please quickly share your story? We'd appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on the webinar today. I appreciate it. So my story began back in 2013. I was looking for the ability to create a lifestyle business, and that's exactly what I had set out to do. I was online one day on Amazon.com, kind of poking around there, buying something for my wife, and I stumbled across a pretty generic-looking product. I think it might have been a spatula or something like that, and it had no brand, nothing really significant about it. But when I looked at what was called the BSR, or the bestseller ranking, which is at the bottom of every listing, every product listing, and it categorizes the rank of that product within any category, I noticed that this thing was selling hundreds of units a day, but it was just some generic product. So I said, okay, this is pretty interesting. So I went over to AlibabaOnline.com, which is kind of like a global sourcing website, typed in spatula, and the exact same product I saw on Amazon was being featured on Alibaba, this website. So put two and two together, obviously figured out these guys were sourcing products from overseas, putting them on Amazon, building their own brands. And I thought to myself, that's a brilliant business. I want to get into that. I've always wanted to sell online. And so I found a couple of gentlemen who had been selling on Amazon for a couple of years. I approached those guys. They coached and mentored me, and that's really how I got started. And the first 4 or 5 products I did launch weren't complete successes, but by the 4th product I had launched, we were well on our way. And I think that my first full year in Amazon, I did a little over $3 million in total gross sales. So I've been doing Amazon full time since then, and I guess more broader than that is physical products, like you said, building out Shopify websites, driving traffic, building out sales funnels, and just understanding how to source a product, create a product, and then launch a product online.
Oh, that's amazing. That's incredible. It's a great story too about how you got started. Now I want to focus our conversation today on the topic that is obviously getting a lot of attention right now, and that's obviously crowdfunding. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with what crowdfunding is, now it's the practice of funding a project or a venture by raising actually small amounts of money from a large group of people. Now, most people are familiar with it the opposite way. You get a large amount of funds from a small number of people. This is sort of the opposite, and typically it's done via the internet. Now, we've all heard of websites like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. Those are 2 of the most popular ones that are being used for that purpose right now. Now, Adam, you're going to tell us about why you shifted a considerable amount of your energy and time and focus to crowdfunding, even though you've had success selling physical products on e-commerce sites. So why are you shifting your focus now?
Yeah, so I appreciate the great question. Another real quick story is that how I got into this was I was approached by a company here locally. I live in Newport Beach, California. I was approached by a local company who they were in knife manufacturing. They had developed this very unique technology on how to create an alloy that they bonded to a knife, and it does all this amazing stuff, right? So, but in 3 years, they had only sold 1,200 knives, and they were on the brink of kind of going out of business. So when they approached me to help them with marketing and growing their physical product line, I said, this has a fantastic story to it. So that's the very first thing you start with, is the story. How compelling is the product? I said, I've never done a Kickstarter campaign, but let's go ahead and let's try it. So we partnered up. I created my own brand. I got the product launched on Kickstarter, and I think within our first 45 days of the campaign, we had sold 6,000 knives and raised over $700,000. And so that was a real eye-opener for me, as you can imagine, because not only was the crowdfunding campaign extremely successful, but there was a lot of momentum that came with the success of that crowdfunding campaign. Right. And so what I realized that is if I want to compete on Amazon and online, I can utilize crowdfunding as kind of a launch pad, if you will, to creating brands and products. And so if I could find a product, or I had an idea for a product or an existing product of my own that I wanted to make better, I could introduce it through crowdfunding first, sell thousands of units of inventory before I ever laid out any capital, right, to bring inventory in, so very little risk. And I could create a ton of buzz and momentum again for the brand and the product. So after the Kickstarter was over with, I could carry that right into selling the product online. So I've got tons of testimonials, I've got lots of endorsements, people have been using the product, there's a lot of buzz out there, and it just snowballs after that.
Yeah, I mean, with that knife, that's some amazing results, going from 1,200 units over the course of their, they've been in existence, to 6,000 units right away.
Yeah,
but I imagine
they were blown away.
Yeah, I imagine so. I'm blown away by it. Now, I imagine that as a result of that, you probably received a lot of positive feedback from other sellers, but also them asking, how you could help them out as well.
Yeah, as just a byproduct of what we did, I probably got, because I know tons of people in the Amazon space, so I was getting calls left and right for other sellers saying, how did you do that? Could you help me out? And then I started getting calls and emails from individuals who were already on Kickstarter or just getting ready to launch their campaign, asking me if I'd give them some advice, or look at their campaign for them, or even help them out throughout the entire process. And so that really wasn't my mindset. That really wasn't anything I had set out to do. But because I had so much fun doing it the first time, and subsequently many times after, that I decided I love building brands, I love building businesses, and I love helping entrepreneurs kind of create their dream and bring their vision to life. So that's why I decided to start my own agency doing that.
Yeah, and that's really cool, because when you can help other business owners, entrepreneurs out with something that you love doing, that's when everything comes to kind of full circle. So what did you end up actually doing as a result of that?
So we decided, first of all, I took a step back and I said, okay, what are the things that I enjoy about the process, and then what are the things that I think I can ultimately improve upon within the process. And so developing the story, creating the video, doing all the upfront work was something that I had already been doing prior to, through our other brands. So that wasn't a far stretch for us. But once we got the campaign live and up and running, we did hit the traditional plateau. So for many Kickstarter or crowdfunders who've never experienced it, you kind of get this initial rush coming through, but then the well kind of dries up and you don't get as much traffic. So being my first time out of the gate, I did enlist another agency, an outside agency, to help me kind of grow and build the momentum throughout the campaign. And so that was a good experience, but there were many things that I just didn't like about the experience when it was all said and done. And the two major things are, number one, once the campaign was finished and over with, there was no follow-up, there was no game plan for how to continue on with the success of and momentum of the campaign that we had. And to me, that was a huge hole that I saw. And then the second thing is just the overall fees that I ended up paying. I wrote a very large check, and I paid fees on money that I never actually collected. So I thought that was, pretty, I don't want to say unethical, but it just didn't sit well with me. So I knew when I wanted to start my own company, that these were the two major holes that I wanted to fill.
So what do you mean exactly? So you said that you hired an outside company, sort of left a bad taste in your mouth. There were some holes you felt, and so it sounds like as a result of that, you decided to do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's when I decided to start my own company called FullyFunded, and we are going to be a crowdfunding agency. But what's different about what we're going to do is we're really taking a two-phased approach. Because of my experience and my team's experience and all of my connections of building physical products and selling millions of dollars online over the past 4 or 5 years, and not just domestically but internationally, I realized that there's a huge opportunity, and all the other agencies fall short because once the campaign's over with, that's where they stop. Right? They're not continuing on and helping you build your brand. Well, that's what we specialize in. And so not only can we help you on the front end of completing the crowdfunding campaign and exceeding the goals big time, but then we can go into phase 2 in what I call life after crowdfunding, keep that momentum going, that's the magic word, and build out Amazon pages and build out Shopify and really scale the brand and carry everything that we've done on the front end through.
So it sounds like essentially you're taking the crowdfunding up front to really be that product launch, but then helping them go beyond just that initial crowdfunding launch into the actual marketing of the business and keeping it sustainable.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So our whole motto is we launch brands, not products, right? We want to work with entrepreneurs who are really looking to build something special and develop multiple products within a brand. So we can certainly work with a company who just has a single product right now, might not have the vision for another product, but knows they want to build a brand. But the biggest thing is they can, take that momentum, like I said, and then continue on with it after the crowdfunding campaign's ended.
Right. So a lot of it's that question of now what. I hear that all the time from entrepreneurs who have built a brand, built a business. They get to that point and they're always asking, now what? Now what do I do? I feel like I've kind of, as you said, hit that plateau. Because they did that initial launch and then they ran out of gas essentially from that initial launch. And so this sounds like you're going to help them go beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question, now what, is the question that I was asking myself after my campaign ended. And so I said, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it the right way, and we're going to help brands not only be extremely successful on the crowdfunding side, we've got to create a plan that allows them to grow and scale after the crowdfunding. And so that's exactly what we've done. Phase 2 is really designed to take the brand, carry it through, build out the Amazon pages, build out Walmart, Jet, build out the Shopify, get all these additional revenue sources up and firing so that a lot of the time brands themselves can focus on developing their next product. And so that was the most interesting thing about the knife company that I'm working with is these guys they're entrepreneurs, but their skill set's different than what we specialize in, right? They're extremely good at creating the product, but they really don't have the experience or the knowledge nor the time to learn everything that's going to take to succeed online. And if you don't have an online presence nowadays, it's very difficult to get into the brick and mortar, to get into retail, because a lot of these chains are looking for a following. They're looking for brand ambassadors. They're looking, do you have existing sales? How is the product doing online before they're going to take the chance of bringing it in-house? And so we specialize in helping brands create that entire package, that entire story, while driving sales at the same time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because that definitely is something that I know people struggle with. I've had some businesses, and that's always been one of those things that I was asking, now what? How do you scale? How do you get above and beyond that threshold? So let's talk about your company and how you're taking your e-commerce experience and applying it to helping brands with crowdfunding, specifically with this fully funded company.
So like I said, the biggest thing is assessing the ultimate goal of the brand, right? Are they looking to, how much money do they need to raise? Ultimately, what's their capacity? So if we go out and sell 6,000 units, do they have the ability to fulfill, on that? Seeing what their manufacturing practices look like. And once we kind of dial all that in and we understand that they want to continue after crowdfunding, then that's really where we put together the entire strategy and model for them. Because of our experience ranking on Amazon, getting up and running on Amazon, it's the world's largest e-commerce platform. So it's a platform that you really have to take seriously, and you have to be selling on that platform. If nothing else, it validates your brand. Because as we build on Shopify and your own websites and your own e-commerce and online, people are always going to go back to Amazon just to check to see how many reviews does it have. And it's probably one of the most trusted websites that people buy on. So at the very minimum, you have to have a strategy and a thought process for all of these different platforms nowadays. And there are so many of them that it took me at least 2 to 3 years to become an expert on just one of them, let alone all the different platforms that are coming online right now with e-commerce. So
right.
having a complete strategy, a complete plan, email marketing, social media, building a sales funnel that converts, because right now Facebook, there's just so much money to be made and so much opportunity on Facebook. That's a whole other strategy in itself that a company would have to hire a specialist just to build out and run for them. Well, we have all those specialists in-house. That's what we've been doing for the past 5 years now. So for us to take on a brand, take on a product, we've got it all systematized because we've done it for ourselves and continue to do it for ourselves, that it's pretty seamless for us to bring in another brand and help them grow and scale and do the same thing.
Right. So kind of one of the next questions obviously is going to be for people is, is this going to help me? Is this going to work for me? So who's your ideal client for Fully Funded? Is it going to be that person who is looking for a product to sell or an idea to sell, or the person that has one, or someone that has a $1 million revenue business?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. It really depends on, again, what their ultimate goal is. But for us, the ideal customer is someone who, again, wants to build a brand. Now, we are certainly open to and happy to help companies launch a campaign. So if they have a video or they don't have a video, we can help do the copywriting. We can help do the campaign page. We help build the email lists, pre-launch. So there's a lot of activity we can do before they even launch their campaign on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. But if they've already launched, we can certainly step in and help with the marketing and create momentum and drive sales as well. But for us, the best case scenario really is to work with an entrepreneur who has a long-term vision. Whether they've got one product now or they want to build out multiple products within the brand, that's really the ideal customer for us, that has a long-term vision, that wants to grow, so that we can come in from the very beginning, do what we do because we've done it so many times on the crowdfunding side, but then keep it going, build out all the websites and drive sales after the crowdfunding is over with.
And so also what it sounds like you're also looking for is more of that long-term relationship with your clients, which is something that I'm always about, because there's always someone out there who's going to take your money to work with you, but it's really hard to find those individuals who are motivated for that long-term relationship and that partnership, and that's what I like about what your approach is about. Now, for someone who is looking to launch a campaign or drive more sales to an existing campaign, how do they actually get in touch and learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, right before I answer that question, you bring up a very valid point. I mean, that was one of the things that frustrated me with my experience that I had with the other agency, is that there was no additional follow-up, there was no partnership mentality. And I think, for anyone who's going to watch this, understanding how passionate we are about building brands and helping entrepreneurs, it is a long-term relationship, and that's why it sounds a little cliche, but we literally can't work with everybody. We have to be pretty selective on what campaigns we work on, because we are dedicating all of our time and resources into making sure that particular brand and product and campaign is very successful. So if you are interested in working with us, I think the best thing to do is go to our website, FullyFunded.com, and we have an apply now button, or an application that you can apply online, and we'll review that. We'll get back in touch with you. Let's set up a call. Let's go over your current product or offering and put together a strategy that ultimately makes sense for the brand, not only short term but long term.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, hey, Adam, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us about it, and I definitely look forward to actually talking about what you're doing with the Elevation Group members on our side as well. So once again, appreciate it, and I'm really excited to see you launch this out.
All right, thanks, Brian. Talk to you soon, bud.